We're back. Thank you to Fast Growing Trees. Link will be in the description. Go check them out. Kamar, can I get a name and a number?
1817 Hotep Jesus.
And I say we should plant as many trees as possible. Just know all of those trees trying to kill you.
AKA Brian Sharp.
Yeah, it really takes away from his rap name when you find out he's Brian Sharp.
Who's this?
Hotep Jesus.
Hotep Jesus is a rapper?
No, but I'm just saying he has a rapper-esque name,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay. No, I thought that's how he started. I didn't.
He's an influencer, as we've already heard. He came up with abortion will be aborting more liberals. That's where I got it from. I just had it written down here.
Oh, there you go. I thought that was your idea.
It was interesting how they talked about both sides want the state involved in life, but for different things.
Yeah.
Or in different places.
Yeah. No one wants you to be free. Thumbs on you everywhere.
Thumbs on you everywhere.
Just both ends of the spectrum. But isn't that what they always say? Get everybody fighting. That's the purpose.
Well, he talked about eliminating the middle class, which is like sort of it's happened.
So by eliminating the middle class, you just create war. Is that right? Class warfare,
or just us against them.
Well, is that us against them, like the poor against the rich, or is it the poor against the government?
It depends where the cutoff for middle class is, or what was middle class.
Well, think about it. Without a middle class, it becomes real difficult for anyone who's in like the lowest tax bracket to be like, I can do better, because you can't just make the jump to like the 1%. There's got to be like.
That's right. The incentive is gone. How am I going to get to the top if there's no more middle?
They talked about it more in the
right. Like the jump is too extreme, and then that's when you get a lot of like, hey, we're more people, so we should just take the wealth.
Dude, the average home price in Ottawa is like $650,000.
It's crazy.
If you are young, at what point in your life will you be able to afford that? I can't afford it. I had to borrow the fucking down payment from my mom. There was no fucking way.
They just have to buy guns and take your home.
They talked about it more on the Black Keys, but I remember when I was young hearing about you should get a job at the car plant. They make $30 an hour.
Well, they were unionized
20 years ago, which means they're making $100 an hour.
$30 an hour is great.
And then all those factories went to China.
Yeah.
And now we're experiencing that. That's where we're at.
Well, that's because the cars had to get cheaper.
And it destroyed the middle class.
Yeah, but do we know that, or was that just the narrative they gave us?
That's why I used air quotes.
Yeah, I didn't see the air quotes. Sorry.
I'll announce them next time.
I was rolling a joint. I was looking down.
It's all good. No, but that is exactly it, right? Like, that's what they want you to think.
Because think about it, that's always the trope, right? Well, the unions are just taking all the money out of the company, so
they get too big.
We're going to have to move. But I mean, is that the case? Or is that just companies demonizing unions?
Fighting for the wage.
No, usually it's just they want to make more and more money at the expense of everything in their way, right? Like, then they move to China because that's something that's making them have less fucking bottom line.
Oh, he talked about getting shanghaied.
That's where that comes from.
Could you imagine?
No.
That was a tougher time.
Yeah. I got to admit, I always have, like, whenever I travel, and I'm not talking about the States, but like whenever I travel abroad, it's that weird, like have you ever been sick abroad?
You've been sick abroad.
I've been injured. I've been injured abroad.
Oh yeah, you've been injured. Yeah, but even then, that's what I'm talking about. It's that feeling of like you're just so far away from any comfort, and you're like,
what your brain would do if you were at home where stuff is.
Think about prison abroad, Matt. It's already like so fucked up, and you're in a different place. You don't have any clue of how anything works.
Oh, I would just walk into the mess hall, ass cheek spread, anus first, just like
help me, help you.
I don't even think they want that. Help me, help you. It's like that episode of Dave.
Yeah.
But like, you know, in that show where they show you prisons in different places there, where the gangs are running the whole thing, you have no fucking clue what a prison in Guatemala is going to be like.
No, you better hope you have someone. You better hope you have someone to call who can wire you $5,000 US.
Living conditions are not.
And still go in with your butt cheek spread wide open.
They do not carry in prisons. The further you go down in a civilized country or third world country.
But again, like, and I know I harp on this shit, but say whatever the fuck you want about how dictatorial Canada is. private prisons. Private prisons. Is that the antithesis? Is that what makes you freer? Like, that shit's crazy to me. Crazy. Bonkers crazy.
I had this conversation with someone the other day. I was like, taxing winnings seems like the least American thing. And then this guy, he said to me, he was like, honestly, dude, if you find $20 in a parking lot, the U.S. government expects you to tell them about it and give them their cut.
Well, it's almost the exact same thing as the God Sad thing. It's like, I thought he would have this little assists, these many points, and these many rebounds, and they get half of it, or I don't know, the tax on it would exist.
No, but taxing winnings, like, I mean, I'm putting up my own money.
That's more egregious?
Yeah, the taxing the winnings doesn't make any sense.
Because they should subsidize the bet.
Like, if you win the lottery...
you should get that back.
If you win the lottery in Canada for $30 million, you get $30 million.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, in the States, you win the Powerball for 150, you're getting 75. Now, again, like we had this thing
It's
earlier.
still great.
You're
75
getting 75,
is
yeah.
great. But why are they taxing that?
I mean, I'll say this. In the lottery one, it's not as egregious because you're betting like, or you're risking $5 to win 30 million. But like, you know, if you bet $100 on 5 basketball games and win like $4,000, it's crazy that off the rip, the government is like I don't know if you know this, but in the States, like if you're on FanDuel and you win 11 grand, they lock your account immediately. They announce it to the government. They take your tax right off the top. They announce it to the government, and then they give you...
That's why it got legalized, Matt.
Who's
because
working
they were
for
already
who?
tied in from the beginning. Those are their fail safes, right? Like, they don't give a fuck about anything but getting paid.
What were we asking for? Sorry?
Agreed. I was agreeing.
Okay, sorry.
He tried to say who he thought the 5 most important people were.
Oh, my God.
In the world ever?
No,
right now, he said Joe Rogan.
Tim Pool.
He did not say Tim.
He said Timcast.
Oh, did he?
Timcast was one of his...
I only heard him say Dana White and Dave Chappelle, and I thought he left 2 off the list.
Dana White is not even close to one of the most important people in America.
I think he might be.
How so?
Because he has pull.
Okay.
He's not one of the most important people in the world.
Do you think he has more pull than Roger Goodell?
I think he might have got the UFC up and running before the NFL did.
He has way less pull
does that
than
mean?
like most really, really, really rich people. Let's put it that way.
I wonder.
Well, only when Trump is in power.
If
Like,
if even when Trump is in power, there are way bigger donors than fucking Dana.
But
fucking
UFC
whatever
is
his
so
name is.
big.
No, it's not.
It's not.
It's still not as big as NFL football.
Kamar, the
It's not
Dallas
even as big as the
Cowboys-
NBA.
The Dallas Cowboys are worth more than the
because of what
fucking
the
UFC.
fighters aren't getting paid.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's what their valuation is. They're a publicly traded company. You can go buy their stock right now. They're not that big a company. They're only worth a couple $1 billion.
A couple billion.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Because that company Tap Out.
Yeah.
Remember, I was saying they were worth $2 billion at their prime.
And they're gone now.
Well, I'm just saying they were a fucking t-shirt company. So if they're only worth the same as a t-shirt,
Here, I'll find out
company,
right now.
like-
Okay, Dana White is not.
I don't think he's on
most
there.
important people.
I think he said that because he's a Trump supporter and Dana's a Trump supporter, and you got to stick with close to your own.
And then he said Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. I mean, sure, I'll
And
give you
There's
that.
2 spots open, or 3 spots if Dana White should be on the list.
But, like-
Joe Rogan is on the list.
I don't know. I don't know if Joe Rogan is on the list. I guess if you think, yes, I guess Joe Rogan is on the list. Joe Rogan, I'll give you. Who was the other one he said?
Dana White.
No Dana White.
Dave Chappelle.
Dave Chappelle. Okay, I'll give you that, but no more comedians. You have to get some other fucking walks of life in there.
Well, no, you'd have to say maybe Lucy Kay.
Oh wait, sorry.
Elon
Are we
Musk.
saying that?
Klaus Schwab.
Fuck you.
I just threw out a 5.
No, I mean I'm not in on the last 2, but I'm with you on the first 2, I guess. And Joe, you're not even going to consider a comedian. He's on there for his podcast.
Just reach and influence.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Dana White Roger Goodell should be on that list then.
What about like the guys who own all the biggest companies in the world? Shouldn't
Mark
they all be
Zuckerberg.
on there? What about Zuckerberg? What about Tim Cook? Should he not be on there?
I think they're not as influential as Joe Rogan, Tim Pool, Dave Chappelle.
Really? You think the guy who runs Apple is not as influential as Joe Rogan?
No, I'm arguing the point for the
No.
sake of it.
I'm. But come on, back me up here.
Yeah, I would. Well, I mean, listen, if you're talking about like, I'll put it to you this way. Tim Cook couldn't go on air and say something that's going to have the impact that Dave Chappelle or Joe Rogan will, but but Tim Cook can make a decision in his office that will affect every American.
The world.
Leaps and bounds. Fine, but let's just keep it within this realm. Leaps and bounds more than any decision Joe Rogan or Dave Chappelle
Could he get canceled?
Tim Cook?
Well, he could get fired, I guess. Yes, he could get canceled. CEOs get canceled.
By the way, I was wrong. It's double. The market cap of the UFC is $13.31 billion.
Well, that's
Just
pretty
a couple
fucking
billion.
good. Listen, okay, but what is Dana White worth?
A couple billion.
Really?
Don't forget, Dana White's been banned from playing blackjack at every casino in Las Vegas.
And he's known internationally from fights all over the world.
Yeah, I still
He
don't
may
think
be bigger than Roger Goodell in actual people who know who Dana White is. He's
Oh,
more-
hold on. That's different.
He's more of a
that's
presence.
totally
That's
different.
totally
Well, no, it's
different.
important.
So
It's
it means
important.
he's
It's
more
important.
famous.
It's important.
Doesn't mean he's worth more,
Most
and it doesn't
important.
mean he's more powerful.
Most
Just
important.
means he's
Most
more
important
famous.
was the designation.
Most
The
important.
5 most important people right now.
Okay, well, I'm gonna need a definition of important.
Listen,
in this case.
I don't know that in this room there's a bigger Dave Chappelle fan than me. So I still don't think he's one of the most important people.
I was gonna say that too. I don't think I put Dave there. I put Joe there because of the podcast.
So would you put Putin there?
No,
Johnny Depp?
absolutely not. What
Johnny
is-
Depp. Although
Johnny
he's getting
Depp.
Johnny Depp is getting so much play from Joe in the last couple weeks.
Oh yeah,
There has
he's
not
gonna
been a-
be on, right?
for sure.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a
He
podcast.
bounces back between. I think he's a nice guy. Like I've spoken to him, he's a great guy. Like his relationship with Johnny is very veiled.
He's covering his bases just in case things go south at some point in this. You know, if there's like a glove that fits.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I'm
Joe's
with
got
you.
to be able to backtrack and be like, I said he was nice, but you know, I never.
Yeah,
really
I
met
also said
He approved of the Will Smith moment.
him. Okay, that
I agree
was
with him
like
there.
4 minutes
I agree
into
with
the
him there.
podcast.
he's just a contrarian. That's all this guy is.
That was for clickbait. That's so that
It wasn't
somebody
for-
could say he agreed with Will Smith.
because it didn't take Joe 30 seconds for him to be like, yeah, I guess you're right. Slapping someone probably isn't good.
No, it's more just the it happened. It's like the space shuttle blowing up.
Exactly. That's what he should have said, but he did a clickbait. He should have said, I love that there was violence at the Oscars. I love seeing
Chaos.
rich people fight each other.
Yeah.
Okay. But to say it like that, he knew that that's going to get the clicks, and then he'd explain his position. That is classic bait and switch. Is it bait and switch?
I mean, listen, this guy said he's like, I use Twitter bots to push my shit. So he's openly like, you know.
Well, his whole thing was Twitter,
Which he even
and that was the least thing that
things went. He tried to say I got 10x
Yeah.
instead of saying a number. So instead of 7, I got 70. Or
Yeah.
he knows what it is. And Joe fires back at him. I got 700,000 2 weeks. He's like, no way.
Yeah.
No, I did not get that many, but I got 10x what I had.
That is interesting, though, for Joe to mention that. if
Isn't
it's
that
true.
interesting?
What's weird?
Like they were holding back that much. That would be crazy. It would make total sense though.
I mean,
It's how you
that's a staggering
control.
number.
That is really how you control the flow of information. If that many people are being banned from your podcast who want to listen to you,
Well, it's not the podcast, just his Twitter.
whatever, any
yeah.
access to you, Maddie. You know, if Spotify was doing the same thing, and they would never because they want to make money, but whoever, right? Like when it was on YouTube, if they were doing the same thing, that's a perfect example.
I think all it is they're just trying to suppress the popularity. Because you can still, like, them suppressing 700,000 followers, you can still go listen. All those people can still go listen to his podcast. There's no one stopping them, right?
right.
So all his ideas are getting out there. It's really just to be like, instead of Joe Rogan has 50 million Twitter subscribers, it's like, wow, he only has, 10.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I don't really.
I assume that's
that
what it is.
anyways. I think mine makes more sense.
Well, fine. That's fine.
No, I'm just as from a conspiracy point
Sure.
of view.
Yeah, I mean, you always go that route.
Of
Okay.
course.
Yeah,
Just-
naturally. That's your space in this podcast.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
What do you mean?
I'm going to start doing something different now.
No, you won't.
No, I won't.
Contrarian, like
No,
Hotep.
I won't.
For sure, everything does for clickbait, but he's not a bad guy.
I never said he was a bad guy.
He's not saying anything wild.
Hotep Jesus?
I don't think so.
I mean, he wasn't a bad guy, no. But do I think that like we'd get beers? I don't know.
He rewrote the Constitution.
He rewrote it.
Yep.
Okay.
Stay the fuck away from me. He really condensed it. I think he sort of
I did.
mailed it in there.
I mean, when
Got rid of the can't have slaves part. Very interesting.
Progressive.
when Hotep was on
Progressive.
the first time, I
Yeah.
very much agreed with him about the whole idea of bringing the slaves over. Like we are definitely on the same wavelength there.
Okay, I don't remember that point. But
He
okay.
thinks that, yes, of course, they brought slaves over here, but they were always black people living here, people of color.
Okay, sure.
Because they were the natural inhabitants of some of these places, and that idea
had slaves.
is just demeaning the black people even further, because it's saying, there were only so many of you when we brought you all over. You know what I mean? Like, that's just not... I agree with that. Anyways, I think the whole story of where we came from on this North America has been skewed by the winners of the war.
Yes, you mentioned this.
Ad nauseum. You forgot that part, Maddie.
Do you think that organic women will become more in fashion? As
What does
more
this mean?
people like
Organic women?
like no butt lifts, no Botox. Like it's out there.
So as soon as there are actually cyborgs and we draw the line, then the people caught in the middle with all the fake parts, they're going to be ostracized. Is that kind of where you're going?
Well, I guess it's for women if they get really old and their work doesn't do them justice and they just get caught in that trap. But I'm sure they'll always find someone to love them. Hopefully they find someone at a certain transition period, unless they become less popular.
Yeah, but Kamar, hold on. What I'm saying is like,
Let's talk about breeding.
you don't have to date a girl with fake tits.
I don't understand what you're saying, though. Getting older? What are you talking about? Like, as they get older, the tits get saggy?
Have you ever seen people with work?
Yeah.
Like we're also coming into the era of watching what happens with people with tattoos.
Who cares?
As they get older, will they all just look sad and droopy?
No, I've seen a bunch of old people with tattoos. They look fine.
Depends on how much body weight you put on. Really?
Well, that too, yeah. But
Like, that's...
And then lose.
And then lose as you get older. Yeah, I guess.
It's just, will they look as cool? Like, they're here to stay, tattoos.
Right.
Yes, that's the idea of a tattoo. They are here to
I
stay.
see what you're saying. As we become more
Will it become a tight?
androgynous, are the big tits going to be just so weird at that point when everybody else just looks all the same?
No, will there just be a thought that someone is not organic? Because he went to say even makeup.
Yeah, this guy probably only fucks tens, and he's sitting here like,
He just had a kid.
I don't know.
Congratulations, Hotep.
I don't know about that, but when he was talking about the idea that once people start being augmented, not with fake boobs, but with ability and things like that, and it's only the rich that can get it at first, like,
We all agree this is just inevitable.
that is definitely going to be the course of events.
I love when Joe has these talks because it reeks of irony. The irony in the room stinks because it's like, Joe, your boy that you prop up on a fucking pedestal
Elon,
day in
yeah.
and day out is the guy doing this. You're talking about it like it's this terrible inevitability.
No,
yet-
I think when
yet
it comes
every-
to Johnny Depp, he has to disconnect.
Johnny Depp.
Because in Doug Stanhope and Johnny Depp's world, Elon's an asshole. And Joe's caught in between.
No, Matt is exactly right. Everything they're talking about there, this idea of putting the chip in your neck,
And that only the rich people will have it first, like-
and this is where our world is. That is all Elon. He is that bastion. He is the Jesus Christ of
But it
all
would
of
happen
this.
without Elon. It's inevitable. That's what I think they were saying.
Oh, it may be inevitable, but he is definitely pushing it. So whether he's speeding it up or making it happen within our lifetime, it's definitely happening within our lifetime.
You'll be very frustrated if it doesn't.
Well, what's going to happen is it's going to be right at the end of our lifetime when you actually need the chip, right? Because
Listen, I'm
it's going
telling
to
you.
give you another 10 years or 20 years.
Imagine being bedridden with Alzheimer's. It's not even a choice. Plug me the fuck in.
No.
I'm 20 again, living in a matrix for the next 20
that
years.
is such a
can't afford that.
that is such a no-brainer, Matt. But the problem is that it will never be reserved for just the ones who need it.
Fine.
And then that's the disparity that everybody's worried about, right? Like Johnny, who comes from a good family, is going to get it at 14. And he's going to become a millionaire by the time he's 17. Not even. It probably only takes a year. 15.
Probably only takes a year.
But Joey, who doesn't get this thing until he's 40, like it's too late. A millionaire at that point, it's not enough. And then the disparity, and you live in this cyber dystopia. All because of Elon. Full circle on that one.
I mean, like Kamar
Sorry,
said,
guys.
if it wasn't him, it was someone. But yeah,
Too
Joe
much
just
ranting.
Joe just buries whenever negative Elon stuff should be brought up. Joe's like a prairie dog, and his head just fucking
It's a disconnect. He's able to compartmentalize. I can't believe I said that word.
But listen, I'll protect Joe to the nth degree.
Yeah.
But that's what bugs me the most, where we can all clearly see.
Yeah, man, yeah.
So Joe can see too. He's just decided that, like, you know what? It's probably something Mike Baker told him. I can't blame him. You know?
This guy's an asset. Let it go.
Well, dude, if you don't think Elon is a fucking asset, you are crazy. This guy is so tied in with the governments. He claims to be like,
The funniest.
I have nothing to do with them funding my whole fucking company.
Elon tweeted the other day, he's like, who knew that owning libtards would cost this much money? And then this guy retweeted an old tweet from Elon where he's like, Twitter needs to be run not like in a way that... I can't remember how it was worded, but it was pretty much him saying, like, Twitter can't be biased to the far left or the far right. It needs to be like a neutral centrality sort of thing. Okay. And then here's him trying to buy it, being like, I'm trying to own the libtards, motherfucker. And it's just...
Apparently the deal's on hold.
Well, yeah, because it lost a shitload of value and is going to cost him like an extra $10 billion.
Well, also, he's saying out loud that they failed to disclose how many bots they had. So Twitter may not be nearly as big.
It's just all smoke and mirrors. Mm-hmm. Well, that would be a good way to drive down the price also if you were, you know.
Listen, I've said this about our podcast for the longest time. I don't believe the numbers.
Yeah, well, there you go. The numbers always lie.
Well, no, again, because they have so much to gain from lying to us.
Just ask the Nielsen.
Keep
bots.
us happy. I mean,
it keeps everyone happy. It keeps
that's what I'm saying.
Forget us, Matt. It's the advertisers, you know?
That's a conspiracy
You'll
theory.
take whatever fucking scraps you can get. They're like...
This is a conspiracy theory.
This is my conspiracy theory,
Anyways,
yeah. I mean, you guys, I've told you all my conspiracy theories about these companies. And
So Sam Tripoli, just coincidentally, and you take this or leave it, but, you know, it's not... He has people on, some credible, some not, whatever. They just happened to have an Elon episode out after last week, which I thought was very poignant. Did you listen to it, Kamar?
I did. Oh, yeah.
Where they talk about Elon's dad and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, his whole backstory is very illuminating, and I suggest everyone look into it.
It is rather illuminating, isn't it?
And it's exactly like Bill Gates. Everybody thinks they were in a garage tooling away, coming up with great ideas to save humanity. No, they got grants from their parents who already had their feet in the door with these rich and powerful in the government. Like, it's always the same old story. It's always the same old story.
It's inevitable. There's no reason to talk about it.
All right, we're
Just
done.
watch it come. You can't stop what's always
I highly suggest everybody look into that on their own. It's very interesting
Do your own
how
research.
all of these uber rich people who supposedly did amazing things on their own with no help.
Simon, you brought up something very interesting earlier. You were like, you know, this guy just buys things. He doesn't make anything. And like, I thought about that. I was like, this guy had the resources. Like, he has obviously brilliant people working for him, whether it's SpaceX or Tesla, right? We're all in agreement there.
Yep.
He could easily hire or move people to create a social media platform like in record time. But he didn't do that.
I think it's harder than it looks. As we've seen with all the other competitors.
But again, hold on. Hear me out. You can try and build one and lose $4 billion, or you can just buy an existing one for a nightmarish amount of money. I feel like the $4 billion is an easier. I mean, again, though, I'm not rich.
Exactly.
I'm not rich
That's
or
why you
smart.
think that way.
There are so many possible conspiracy streams coming off the Elon River. Like, it's crazy, dude. No, seriously. There are so many different routes you could go down with the electric car, with the Neuralink, with the fucking solar, with this, with that. Like, all of them can be totally tied in with the government. If you wanted to start looking at it that way, if he was like a, you know, he's the new fucking, what's that song? CIA. Winds of Change, you know? He's just the face of every new initiative they want to push, that if it came from the government, you'd be like, fuck you, you ain't telling me what to do. But because it's Elon, you're like, yay!
He's a modern day Bono.
You make a good point, though. If the government sold you a car that they could that you needed updates for and that could track you. Yeah, you'd be like, get fucked all fucking
that could
day.
suddenly take control of you and take you where you want. Fuck you.
Yeah.
If the government said we're putting a chip in your neck
Oh, get fucked all day.
to help you, fuck you.
Yeah.
But because Elon's doing it, like, sign me up.
Yeah.
After 2 years, have your opinion on UBI changed at all?
I told you I'm against it. I was
You were
against it like
before, you're
two
against
years
it now,
ago.
after
Yeah.
seeing it sort of as an experiment.
I feel like before
Happenstance.
before COVID I came back around. I worked it out that if you get to a point, let's say we automate away 75% of jobs and the government pays everyone $2,000 a month. Okay, let's say they freeze rent so that everyone can live off $2,000 a month. We can't all just have podcasts. Like there isn't enough money moving through for you to make extra money. It just doesn't work. You can't create money from nothing.
Why do you think everyone's going to start a podcast, though?
I only use a podcast as doesn't matter whether you're painting. Name any fucking creative endeavor that you want to pursue. First of all, there's now 15x people doing said pursuit. So the market is saturated. There isn't enough money for you to sell. Like, you know as well as I do that in art, for example, the money is made by 2% of the artists, right? By and large.
Yeah.
So unless you're in that 2%, the amount, but right now we live in a world where that 2% is a ton of money. But once UBI, if 75% of people are only making $2,000 a month and are capped at that, that pie shrinks exponentially. Does it not?
Yeah, that's assuming that everybody does that. Some people are going to do that. Some people's dream is to own a bar, and they're going to... Everybody gets the UBI.
But hear me out. But again, the bar, like, most people can't afford to... Like, the people that can afford to go out and really party a lot make a decent amount of money, right? Or they have a lot of expendable income. If you're capped at $2,000 a month, it's tough for you to go out to bars.
But why are you capped at 2,000? If you have a job... If you work for...
No, but I said 75% of people are on UBI because 75% of jobs have been, in this scenario.
Oh, I see.
Been,
okay. But I mean, you're assuming that you're going to lose all those jobs, and that's probably just a scare tactic.
That's way more down the Matrix road.
Matt?
I mean, it is and it isn't. I don't know if you know this, but like trucking is like the #1 industry for men aged, 25 to 45.
Yeah.
And that's the first industry to go, they think.
Our generation is not going to wage well, or
No
is not
shit.
going to fare well,
Yeah.
rather. But, and I'm not saying this to be facetious, because I would be just as fucked as everybody else. But the rest of the youngsters are going to learn to code. And I don't mean that as actually learning to code. They're going to figure out what is going to be important.
Yeah, listen,
when
I'm not one of these
driving trucks isn't anymore.
Hear me out. I'm not one of these alarmists who's like the kids. Like I've always said, the kids will adapt. They're already way better at this shit than we are. We didn't grow up with it. I get it.
We're fucked.
Yeah. It's always the older people that will be the most affected. But I'm just saying, like, if you were to take away, a huge amount of jobs that any non-high school graduate male could go and get, if you take away a shit ton, like hundreds of thousands of those jobs, that affects the economy a great deal. Same thing. Like, I read this article. They hired a robot burger flipper, and they had it open for 2 weeks, and then they had to fire it because it was way better than all the other employees.
And it made way too many burgers. They couldn't keep up with like the bun manufacturer, the tomato cutting. This thing just wouldn't stop. And you know what happens, Matt, is then they make that thing the manager, the burger flipper, because it's so effective. And then it's
efficient.
like, these guys are my problem. I need to kill them or fire them, I guess, and get more like me to be. But
I mean, Amazon...
That's how you get Skynet.
But think about Amazon. I bet they're one of the biggest... Amazon and Walmart, probably two of the biggest employers in the United States. They are going out of their way to automate away every single job because simply they're like, oh, what, human? You can't do this job in 15 minutes? And every human's like, well, this is like a 1-hour job with 2 people.
You know when they will be able to do it, though, Maddie? And I think this is the part we're leaving out. Neuralink. That will let you compete against the robots.
But they'll be so far ahead, like Joe said.
Well, at least gives you a fighting chance. You could run that package as fast as fucking Amazon can drone it over,
Like I said to you, if Neuralink involved basically a company renting your body for 8 hours while your mind was doing something you enjoyed, wouldn't that be actually...
Dude, it's terrible. It's terrible,
Well,
but it would be very effective.
Hold on. It's a weird dystopian future, but it's kind of like a win-win. I know it sounds terrible, but you're already renting your body out when you work. And a lot of that drone work is terrible for people. So imagine if you could plug in and be doing whatever you love, playing poker, you're on a beach, you're skateboarding. Name a fucking thing that you really enjoy doing.
Wow.
You're doing that for 8 hours and loving it.
So there really are like MPG, is that what it's called?
NPC.
NPC, except it's only like half the time for people. You'll see a person who'll be like, are you in NPC mode or are you Matt right now?
Everyone's equal.
Like I said, Simon.
It's very effective, Matt. I'm not disagreeing with that.
You kiss your wife goodbye, she hits a button, and you're on the beach. And then your body walks to the bus stop, a Tesla picks you up, a Tesla truck picks you up, drives you to the Tesla factory.
You both go to sleep, and all of this happens as you're sleeping.
Sure, whatever. Yeah.
Well, that would be the most...
that's the best time, yeah.
That's the way to do it.
So instead of
and
sleep...
everybody's operating, and then you don't have too many people on the street at the same time. Holy fuck, man.
See, like, we went from hating this to thinking this is the
No,
best.
I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think I want to do this. I don't want my body
But if
walking
it comes
around
out, you won't
without me.
refuse it. Say it's optional.
No, I
Fend
just
for
think
yourself.
this is exactly how they'll do it. Like, they'll get you this way and use you. That's
listen,
why I don't understand this vaccine killing people. Because they want bodies. For whatever their fucking end game is, they need us mindless drones to do exactly that, Matt. To use us while we sleep.
Dude, who's going to do landscaping?
Well, the robots.
No, my point, like, I'm just saying, right now, like, the idea that they're trying to kill us off in the next 10 years, they don't have enough robots to do all the shit jobs.
I mean, it all depends on how fast a robot can start self-replicating.
This started off with UBI, though.
Yeah, I know. Who cares?
Sorry.
This was way more fun.
With UBI, Kamar,
way more fun.
I just don't see it working.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this. The problem is this. They've done these every time they do these pilot projects, they work on a small level. So this one they're trying in like Austin with 83 families, it's going to come back and it's going to say it's going to work. Mark my words.
So you think this, although you think it's a bad thing, it is inevitable.
Well, hold on. I'm not. I don't know about inevitable. If we automate away a shitload of jobs, we have to.
And
you can't. What are we going to have?
The sector has to fund it. Somehow.
Naturally, yes. Yeah. Listen, it would be simple. However many robots you have working, we tax you per robot for man hours. That's basically it. You're paying whether you think this robot is saving you money. It's not.
That's exactly how it should be. That's exactly how it should be. If your robot takes the place of 17 employees, that's the tax dollars we want.
Guess what?
That should be how it works now anyways.
Like those big iPads out of McDonald's?
Then you'd have to pay a lot less tax, Matt. Just so you know. And so would God Saad.
Yeah, exactly.
You'd have to pay a lot less tax if fucking Amazon would pay its share.
Hold on, you just made a great point. That's something that someone like Gad Saad never brings up, is if the government properly taxed these fucking behemoth corporations, a guy like Gad Saad would be taxed at like a 40% rate, more reasonable at his...
Everybody, the whole tax bracket would change.
Yeah.
He said that women have the power to destroy the world. I think there's some truth to that statement.
I'll stand behind that. Listen, Mary the other day had a bachelor party at the bar, and I said to her, I was like, we have lost, and I'm not one of these people, like I don't believe this whole there is no masculinity. Let's get to that real quick first.
Okay.
He said there is no masculinity anymore. The most popular podcast in the world is the Joe Rogan Experience. What the fuck are we talking about here? There's obviously a ton of masculinity left in the world. Like, I don't know. That's crazy to me.
It's the minorities. It's not the minorities. Sorry. It's the minority of people shouting the loudest.
I agree. Yeah.
And a swath in time of something, as we say, should swing back. But you'll be 10 years older and wearing weirder clothes when you look back at this time.
Think about it like this. When you read these articles like exercise is a white supremacist thing or whatever, like, dude, look around gyms. Gyms are fuller now than they've ever been, ever, in like the history of man.
And that's probably positive influence from Joe Rogan.
Sure.
Extrapolate that.
Have you noticed, though, that I just kind of, on Star Trek and shows like that, the men always start wearing like these longer coats? That's always seems to be part of the uniform. I wonder if that's like...
As we evolve?
Yeah, we just start not wearing women's clothing, but just more clothing becomes neutral,
That's our evolution as man. It's the years 2124. Men wear cloaks 40 feet long. It's all just... Everyone's tripping on cloaks
have to
everywhere.
Be 40
I'm
feet
so
long.
sorry, sir. No.
They just have to be below the knee, Matt. Below the knee.
No, but I'm saying it becomes so outlandish that, like, It started in 2026.
Johnny Depp is Hotep's favorite actor.
Who's your favorite actor? Oh, wait. He asked the question.
But
there's only one answer. Who is the best black actor ever? It's Denzel Washington.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's any fucking... Jamie Foxx is a great actor.
Oh, Jamie Foxx is pretty good.
He's just a talented...
Jamie Foxx is the best Renaissance man, for sure.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Modern-day Renaissance man. But
could Denzel do stand-up?
Probably. It doesn't
But
matter.
that doesn't make you the best actor. Stand-up
No,
doesn't
it
make you
was-
the
yeah,
best.
so
That's
okay.
why he's a Renaissance man. He's a much
He's a
better
jack of all
singer
trades.
than
Yeah.
Denzel also. Denzel, I think I agree, is the best actor.
But is Johnny Depp...
I said black, but he might be the best actor
no,
ever, period.
sorry, the best black
Yeah.
actor.
Is
No, he
Johnny-
might be the best actor ever.
Is Johnny Depp that good an actor?
No.
He's not an amazing actor.
We loved him because of 21 Jump Street. It was an amazing show. He was great in it, but it wasn't like breakthrough acting.
He's not
you know?
an amazing actor.
Then
He's
he
much
did-
better than Christian Slater.
He's done some great work. Blow, great movie.
Blow?
He's right. You know?
Low is one of my fucking favorite movies.
And Edward Scissorhands is incredible. Like top to bottom, everyone involved in that. It's a fucking masterpiece.
Interesting Blow story. The guy that directed it, Ted Dem, died playing basketball. Ton of cocaine in his system.
No way.
Yeah.
He was around.
Wow.
Well, that's his.
That's full circle.
Blow
Kind of like. Sorry, go
is
ahead.
Hotep's favorite movie.
Well, there you
Oh,
go.
that's
And
what.
that's
Oh,
what we're doing.
yeah.
It's the JREE movie game. The time has come again. For Matt and Simon, two racks of brains to guess the budget in the box office. We all know they won't guess the year, and the Patreons are the real winners here at the JREE movie game. Come on, take it away, baby.
It's the movie game. Simon and Matt go head to head to find out what year a movie came out, how much it cost to make, and how much it made at the box office. This week we're doing Blow, which is Hotep's favorite movie.
Just under objection, by the way, I don't like how much Matt already knows about this movie.
The fact that he already knew that it was directed by Ted Dem.
Correct. a man I've never heard of in my whole
you might be in
life.
trouble. No, now that you've said that, I'll be further off than anyone.
Do you know who wrote it?
Who wrote Blow?
He's got a really cool name.
Is it Nick Cassavetes?
Nick Cassavetes. Wow, that's a super nerd.
Yeah.
bonus
Okay,
point
I'm
already.
done. I'm done.
Simon's
done.
in trouble.
I want to do Fiddler on the Roof.
Don't you feel like changing your last name to Cassavetes? Sounds like someone who gets stuff done. Yeah.
You know who? He was the tattoo artist in The Hangover 2.
Yeah.
No, it didn't. Not a blue. Not okay.
I know
sorry.
who he is. He's like a white-haired, like
Yeah. He was on.
Bearded
He was.
dude.
He was on Joe.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
a guest.
Starring Johnny Depp, Penelope Cruz, Frank Capalent, Rachel Griffiths, Paul Rubens, Lord Mola, and Ray Liotta, his dad, his disappointed father.
This movie is absolutely incredible. The scene where they're testing the blow with Bobcat Goldthwait is like one of the best movie scenes ever. Where remember he puts it on the hot plate. He's like, okay, good coke usually burns at around. He's like, the bad stuff burns away at around 170, and it's going up. He's like, okay, 160, 170.
Are you sure it wasn't Pee Wee Herman?
Pee Wee Herman's in the movie, but in that scene, it's Bobcat who's testing out the fucking blow.
Okay, yeah.
And then it gets to like 210. He's like, fuck me, running 210. And then he looks at Johnny Depp and he goes, do you mind if I try some? And he goes, yeah, fuck it, let's all try some. And the second Bobcat does it, he's sitting there and he goes, I can't feel my face. And then he touches his nose. He goes, I mean, I can feel it, but like I can't. It's one of my favorite scenes ever. That movie's incredible.
It's really
Sad.
good. Yeah. I
It's
just
sad.
rewatched it the other day.
It's sad.
The first
So
time I
know
saw
exactly what year it
the
is.
first time I saw it, Metcalf and I were so high on mushrooms. The theater is packed. The scene where Penelope Cruz, they've already divorced and they're broke, and Johnny Depp's like fat and wearing a tracksuit. Penelope Cruz comes out of the house in her tracksuit, wearing a wig. Dan and I, in such a sad scene, started laughing so fucking hard in the theater. There's
Laughing
people
at their
looking at
misery?
us. Oh, dude, I've never laughed that hard. Simon, you have a year?
That's why we watch.
I do have a year, Matt.
I think I'm off on the year, but I said 01.
I also said 01.
01.
Okay, now I got to
Ladies and
rework
gentlemen, everything
these
is in
numbers
play.
a little bit.
Everything is in play.
This is great, Simon. I don't think we've ever both hit the year. I think this might be a fucking
It felt
movie
unnatural
game
coming
first.
out of my mouth. I've never had to say it before.
This is interesting. This is very interesting.
And
By the way, this basketball game.
the scene where he realized he's done that awkward.
Oh, the scene where where's my knife?
When everyone's like, yeah, everything's great. He's like, boys, this is it. I'm out on our way.
No, and he says to them, he's like, I just want you guys to know I've given you guys an extra 5%. And the guy sits there and he goes, fuck me, that's like an extra 140 grand each. And he's like, yep, this was it. One last one for my daughter. And then they all get awkward and he looks down and he goes, where's my fucking knife? It's Dewey. Remember that was the guy's name?
Yeah.
Fucking Dewey. The only problem I have with that movie, I actually kind of love it, is you never find out what happened to Tuna.
Yeah. Okay. He dies, presumably.
Well, you just never find out.
It's very long. That'll be the one. It's a very long
It's a
movie.
lot of him disappointing his parents, man. Yeah, it's a tough movie.
Dude, the scene where Ray Liotta at the end is listening to the recording of him from prison and he says the little like to dance in the stars under the moonlight. That is heart fucking wrenching.
And do you think Johnny Depp does a good job of acting in it?
He did an incredible job.
Yeah. How much do you think it cost to make?
I'm already ready. Simon, you ready?
I'm also ready.
I said it cost $26 million to make, and I said it made 134.
Okay. I said it cost 37 to make, and it made 187 in honor of them murdering their brain cells.
Here we
I
go.
thought you were going to do something there. Budget, $53 million.
Oh,
I
wow.
was closer there. I'm not that far off. 53?
Yeah.
I'm pretty close, man.
You're ahead.
Okay.
You're in it.
And
This is going to be like 248 or something.
Box office, $83.3 million.
oh
Movies about cocaine don't do good at the box office, as it turns out.
my God, I'm off by so much.
I
We learned that with Goodfellas.
100
yeah.
million I'm off by.
I thought you were going to bring it in and say 60 million.
No,
and that'd be
I
like
did
a-
not rail it in.
No.
If I had said 87 million, that would have been good.
But like,
Simon was doing what I was doing. Like, it made a good amount of money.
I thought it made good
yeah.
money. It's Johnny Depp. It's fucking
Penelope Cruz. It's
I-
such a good
cocaine.
fucking movie.
I think, though, looking back, you have to look at if a movie is considering if it's restricted or not.
That's true.
That is
Restricted
gonna make a
always
difference
affects the
to
box
think of what
office
the
bottom
movie that
line.
we're talking about, was it
I
restricted or
never
not?
do that. I think you should remind us.
No,
every
I am
time.
right now.
don't.
I am right now. I'm stating. I think
Great,
that's,
great movie game pick, Kamar. Blow.
Yeah, okay.
Blow is in my top 10 movies of all time. I think I love that.
You and
fucking
Hotep
movie.
have something in
Wow.
common.
That's a big statement.
I really like that
a
movie.
big statement.
Really like that movie.
It was weird that flash of time where it was like Charlie Sheen was going nuts. Everyone was sort of celebrating it.
Yeah, Tiger Blood, baby.
That sort of is like a moment where Will Smith hit Chris Rock.
I think
Well,
we were
he
celebrating.
hasn't,
Hold on.
Just
he
shake
hasn't
shit up.
leaned into it in the same way that Charlie Sheen leaned into his
And
disaster.
lead right out of it, apparently.
It also felt though like everyone celebrated it until we found out he got AIDS, and then it was kind of like, oh,
Well, because then the Tiger Blood was tainted.
I guess, yeah.
But I don't think anybody was really celebrating it. I think that was one of the first, like, he was being made a meme and he didn't even, or maybe he did realize and it was making him money. So, winning.
He was already dude. He was making like $1 million plus an episode.
But he had
for-
just been fired
Yeah, I
by
know.
that
Yeah,
show.
yeah, yeah. I
So,
get it.
and he was in all these lawsuits with them. And then all of a sudden it's just like, boom.
But I think they had to pay him out for the rest of the contract.
Sure, listen, I have no
I know what you're
idea.
saying. Well, make hay.
Confident that there'll be a new language that doesn't involve words.
Well, I use emojis a lot. I can tell you that. Like more often than I write something.
I don't think I can learn something new.
Well, I don't think it'll
You
affect
could learn pictures, though. Yes,
No,
you
but-
could.
Apps and functions.
Apps and functions. Oh, that's the new language.
Kamar, you post like 7 face swaps a day. I'm sure you can figure out some new apps or
You'd be
something.
surprised how easy that is.
They look so professional. I can't.
You're
believe
on a
it's that
podcast.
easy.
South Park, the best.
No, that's professional.
Hotep thinks South Park the best. Hotep thinks everyone should have a microphone. We'll need a microphone. Contrary, do you think that not everyone can have it?
Like everybody's just gonna be walking down the street with a microphone.
I'm not gonna lie. I feel like through making this podcast, I have actually acquired like a, what would you call it? I know it's a skill, but like a
Skill set.
But something that's applicable moving forward, right? Like
a skill set.
Yeah, okay, sure. I was thinking of something different, but I'll use a skill set, yeah.
And then they touched about Amber Heard being the legacy of crazy movie starlets and being a movie star. And even Johnny Depp, like that lifestyle is just exposed. You always thought they lived these crazy lives. But if he's living that life at, 45 when he met her? And he broke up with a beautiful woman for her.
Well, of course.
And his wife and the wife of the mother of his children.
Beautiful
Like
woman.
he left for this muse who ended up being his fucking
Demise.
real.
I mean, she would have been the
downfall,
demise of any one of us.
yeah. I mean, I don't know.
You don't know? That girl walks up to you at a bar and says, I will lick your fucking taint clean.
No.
Okay.
When I was young?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I'm not saying
I thought
right
you were
now.
making me decide between my wife and Amber Heard, and I won't let you record that.
We talk about it in the next
That's
episode.
a yes.
We talk about it in the
She's
next.
crazy. Why would I?
We
go
know
with
that
her?
now. We know that now.
I got good radar.
We talk about it in the next
Cradar.
episode, but taint is slang. That's not the proper name.
No, it's
What
a
is it?
perineum.
Thank you.
Well, yeah.
I had surgery on it
I was
twice.
just, I wasn't going there.
I obviously
but
know.
I understood.
I obviously know the name of it well.
Perineum does not sound like the correct name for that, though.
The
You're not a
doctor,
doctor. You just play one on TV.
No, I'm saying, like, you know how some things sound like their name?
the doctor kept getting really pissed at me because I kept using slang. I'd be like, "Yeah, my taint, my gooch." He's like, "It's perineum." I was like, "Yeah, no, I clearly know." That's it. No one. Okay,
No.
let's move on.
Sorry, I'm not on mic. I
You
would
put the
back
doctor's
you up.
place. He,
Kamar will not play with you.
my bad.
He will only play against you.
Pump up the volume. This does feel like that.
This is where
But
I
that-
thought he was going.
But you've seen it, or is it before your time? Because
Oh, I love that movie.
yeah.
I didn't love it like Blow. Like as a kid, I remember like romanticizing, like I'm gonna have a pirate radio.
You do.
Well,
you really
we do, yeah, look at me
And
go.
I just want to say I appreciate
You
guys.
are Christian Slater.
Can I actually tell you something crazy? As a kid, my favorite movie, I watched it like twice a day, was Good Morning Vietnam.
Oh.
Yep. Robin Williams.
My dad
Rest
pointed
in
that out
peace.
to me. He's like, "Do you think it's interesting that you have a podcast and like your favorite movie growing up was?"
It's interesting.
Because it's always that subconscious shit that you never think about, right? That
You just want to be like in the movies, and now you are. Like,
yeah,
for
look
all
at me
intents
go.
and
Yeah,
purposes.
we got like 4 people watching.
I thought you were going to say Heathers.
No,
Have you seen Heathers?
I believe so. Yeah, It wasn't
Shannon
Keith-
Doherty. What's her name? The klepto.
Oh my god!
um,
I almost forgot to mention
What's her name?
Winona Ryder.
Thank you.
Winona Ryder was Johnny's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
They
that's
dated,
right.
yeah.
In another lifetime of crazy bitches.
Full-
He's lived.
Yeah.
He's a magnet for
Oh
crazy
my
bitches.
god!
Yeah, but he
man.
probably loved it. He was probably like, "Go steal me that Hermes bag, and then we'll fuck in the change room."
I
like,
think it might-
Anyways, that movie is hilarious. If you
Heathers?
haven't watched
Okay.
it in a while, it's really funny.
a cult
And
classic.
Christian Slater is in it, which is why I brought it up.
That's the movie game.
Yeah, let's do it. That movie didn't make anything.
I thought
no
Joe was
way.
very telling the way he talked about Howard Stern.
how he's the goat.
It could be easier to say, he's changed or whatever, as some people want to say, but he pays homage. And Tom Green. Like, obviously, Howard Stern has reaped the benefits.
Owner of a Yeti original.
Yes, Tom Green owns a piece
I've
of
been
Simon's
bragging.
art.
Tom
about
Green
that
did it, but I
lately.
don't think Tom Green wanted to do it.
Buy my painting.
Actually
That I
did it.
agree with.
It was alcohol that made him
That
do
I
it.
totally agree with.
You made some good coin last night off a shark's head.
That actually sold?
Yeah, $950. Sorry, $450.
Get out of here, dum-dum.
But Howard Stern should be seen as
We'll
like
see what my brother tells me.
$950.
It'll be a big test.
in broadcasting a Lenny Bruce, a Richard Pryor.
Lenny Bruce, or Richard.
I mean,
Pryor.
Joe. This is Joe's words as well.
Who will go down in history as the most influential podcaster of all time? do you think?
Broadcaster. It's gonna be
Podcaster. Podcaster.
Oh, no, Joe has to.
You think so?
Yeah. Joe broke through the glass ceiling, like smashed through it.
So when they talk about like the beginning of podcasts, they will not be talking about the Podfather or Tom Green. They will be talking about Joe Rogan.
But
Listen, we
when
talk,
this
listen,
documentary is made in 10 years.
hear me out. Like, we mention Napster all the time. You hear about Napster, but we all have Spotify or Apple Music. You know what I mean? Like, those are the streaming services. But at first, you stole music from Napster. And, you know what I mean? So,
And what was that guy's name?
Sean.
That's my point.
Parker.
Yeah. That's it. Sean Parker.
Is it?
Yeah. Nice work, Mar.
bonus
That
points.
guy got shut down quick.
Well, that was all
He
Lars.
still made $1 billion.
Oh, did he? When he sold it to like Microsoft or
Well,
something?
He ended up going into Facebook. Yeah, but that's all such bullshit,
It's
man.
CIA.
That
Money's
whole-
still money, wherever it comes from.
It's so funny though. Like if you ask, I bet you, if you go out there into the world and ask 90% of people what they know about Facebook and where they know it from, it'll be that movie. We all just assume that was real,
That's the narrative.
and that's what it was.
Yeah, but at
That's
the same
not what it
time,
was.
Well, yeah, but I
The
assume
Winklevoss twins. The guys are CIA all through and through.
those guys are CIA.
No, I don't know, but it definitely wasn't like that. Come on. That was
If
done
anything,
for
you would argue
Hollywood.
that they're not CIA.
Yeah, I know. I'm just joking, man. I don't think they are. I know nothing.
Do you understand my logic there?
Um,
That the CIA would have stolen it because they didn't play ball
yeah,
and gave it to Zuckerberg,
exactly.
who would
I
play
think
ball.
that's
Inevitable.
Matt, I think that is the conspiracy. I think I misspoke.
My bad.
Yeah. Not everybody works for the CIA.
Yeah.
Some are being used by the CIA.
Yeah.
That's the same thing. Whether you know it or
No,
not.
but you're a willing or unwilling participant. You know?
And the last message from Hotep was lead with love. So, I mean, you can't take anything back from that.
That was Simon's message last week, too, when we shot all over Brennan Schaub.
Rated, boys.
It is lead with love. I mean, I'll agree with him on that too. So
I give it a 1.5.
I give it a 1.
I gave it a 1, but I really like him.
I did not love this episode. I liked the first one
No
a little
new ground.
better. I wasn't buying books. I know Kamar has a certain.
Just didn't like this week. Didn't love the content. Didn't love. Listen, nothing wrong with any of the people. I have no problem with Hotep Jesus. You
And
do
I
you.
have not bought his book yet.
I'm just bored.
Yet.
I'm bored, and you're gonna have to do better than this to break me out of my doldrums.
Yeah. Simon got a puppy out of boredom.
No, I mean by the show.
I'm
I don't
kidding,
mean
I
by
know.
my
Give it a
life.
shot.